Welcome back to OneStopTutorials.com. It's me, Alibaba, back again with this SEO course. Now in this tutorial we're going to talk about domain names. Okay, these are really important. Now a domain name, for those who are not sure what it is, a domain name is basically just a name of your website. For instance, OneStopTutorials.com. That is the name of my website. That is my domain name. Google.com is the domain name for Google. Okay, now there's a lot of you can go to different places. There's lots of places available that you can buy domains. I generally buy mine through GoDaddy. The reason being is that I host through GoDaddy, and it's just a lot easier. If you host with another company and you want to buy a domain through that, go for your lives, it doesn't matter. But what I want to talk about is I want to talk about how Google views domain names and what they actually think. Whether you know it or not, search engines assume that there are keywords relevant to your domain name, and they will boost your website higher if there are. So if you have a domain name, for instance, like let's type it in, I don't know, dog food, okay, you'll see here that dogfood2k.com or petfooddirect.com, these websites, Google assumes that these keywords here are inside of this website. If these keywords are inside of these websites, and if we went to it, I'm sure we would find them, Google will give you more highly ranking. Okay, it will actually boost you up higher because you have a domain name that is relevant to the concept of your website. Now Google also brings you domain name if it's relevant to the search. So if you have a domain name, for instance, like dog food, let's say what else can I use, something like this, ebooks. If you have a domain name relevant to the search, so I'm searching for ebooks, and you'll notice number one is ebooks.com. So the best concept, the best domain name to buy is the domain name that is relevant to the keywords that you're using. So in our instance, in my instance, my coffee cake recipes, that's the domain name I'm looking to buy. I'm not looking to buy dogsgalore.com because I want my domain name, I want it to be relevant, if not exactly, which is sometimes hard to get, coffee cake recipe. If I can get that, my whole concept of my website is about coffee cake recipe. If my domain name says coffee cake recipe, Google will boost me up higher because my whole concept of the website, including the domain name, is coffee cake recipe. Now don't be afraid to add dashes to your domain name, okay? Sometimes actually Google boosts you higher because they view the dashes as spaces, okay? So if you had a website, I don't know, howtocleanhouses.com, and you spelt it how dash to dash clean dash houses.com, that is actually sometimes better than howtocleanhouses.com, okay? So don't be afraid to use dashes. Okay, what I want to do is I want to show you GoDaddy. This is GoDaddy. You can go to godaddy.com, and what I use this for is I use this to search for my keywords. Now you got lots of different not keywords, sorry, search for my domain name. Now you got lots of different types of domains. You can have .com, .info, .net, .org. You can have all of these, okay? Now they all get searched, they all get ranked the same. So if you have a .com or you have a .org, it will be ranked the same. There is no higher ranking if you're a .com, okay? They're all ranked the same. The difference being is that most people are used to using .com. So let's say your website was called calculator.net, okay? Some people, when they remember your name of your website is called Calculator, they'll assume that it's .com. It's just what most people know, okay? So .coms are always to start with, sometimes the better way to go. If you did really love your keyword, then you could more than likely get it in other ones like .net, because not so many people are actually using those, so you more than likely find the concept or the keyword for your actual website, okay? Now a domain name can consist of 56 characters, including the www and the .com or .co.uk. So that's actually quite a lot. If you really think about how many that is, that's quite a lot. So you can have a domain name that cannot exceed more than 56 characters, okay? Now by buying a good domain name, you don't only get good traffic, like we discussed, you get your boosted because your domain name is relevant to the actual concept of your website, but you're also taking away that chance of competition from taking that domain name as well. So if you had a really good domain name that was, let's say, ebooks.com or tutorials.com, these domain names aren't available no more because people have control of them. But if you had something like that, you could take away the control from your actual competition that is competing with you. Okay, so that's another good reason to buy a good domain name. Now I want to actually stick in my domain name and see how we get on here. My domain name that I want is Coffee Cake Recipe. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do Coffee Cake Recipe. Now if you just paste it in like that, what GoDaddy will do is make this all one word, so it'll be Coffee Cake Recipe. I don't actually want that. I quite like using the dashes because, one, it actually individual keywords, they can be viewed as spaces, so this is how I prefer to do it. If I can't do it with this, I'll come back. Now I'm going to hit search and do a search to see if this domain name's available. Now I'm actually cheating here because I actually know it's available. I've actually searched for this already, and there you go. I actually got a little bit lucky with it. I got a lot lucky with this one. As you can see, my whole concept of my website is called Coffee Cake Recipe, okay, and I'm having it as a .com. This is, remembering, Apple Coffee Cake Recipe, cinnamon coffee cake recipe. My whole concept is about coffee cake recipe, and I've managed to get the name Coffee Cake Recipe. Okay, so I've actually been lucky here. Now I know you're not going to get this lucky depending on what keywords you're doing. So what do you do if you don't get so lucky? Well, what you could do is you could go back and you could actually take away, so I could just type this in, okay, and I could just put them all together as one word, and you can try doing a search for that. Okay, if that doesn't come up, then what you could do is, as you can see here, Coffee Cake Recipe, all one word, is not available. So what you could do is you could add some keywords. So let's say you have your main concept, which in our case is Coffee Cake Recipe. You'll also notice that we got Coffee Cake Recipes with an S, okay? So you could try sticking in something like that. Now your concept's obviously not going to be about Coffee Cake Recipe, because by the time I put this live it won't be available no more, but your concept, whatever it is, let's say it was coffee mug holders, okay? Come in here and try to get something relevant to coffee mug holders. Try it with coffee-mug-holders or .com. If you really like a concept of a keyword and you can't find it, like I say, you can always come in and choose another one of these. .coms are the best. Again, if you can't get it, try adding coffee mugs, try adding different keywords. So I've talked about the plural version of it. You got the singular version that I'm using, Coffee Cake Recipe, and then you got Coffee Cake Recipes. Try adding more stuff, but try to keep it to the quality of the keywords. There's no point in getting a domain name that, for instance, peach coffee cake recipe, okay? There's no point buying that just because it's got coffee cake recipe in it, because the numbers aren't so good, and that means my whole website has changed concept. My whole website's changed from being about coffee cake recipe to now being about peach coffee cake recipe, and I'm really losing some great subcategories to my website because I've taken away the main concept of my website, which was coffee cake recipe. Okay, now if you want, you can send me an email, but what you need to do is you then need to come and buy your domain. It's time to buy the domain. Okay, so I'm gonna now, once I've finished this tutorial, I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna buy coffeecakerecipe.com. do it with yours, but please check the keywords are good. Please check that enough people are viewing it. Please check that you actually have enough subcategories to that topic, that the whole concept can be about that topic, meaning that you can actually coffeecakerecipes.com, everything is about coffee cake recipes. Okay, so have a play with it. Let me know if you're not sure, and send me your keyword or something, and we can have a look into it. And if your domain name's not available, if you don't get as lucky as I did, this all sort of flowed into one and sort of like it was meant to be in some way. So if your domain name's not that lucky, then send me an email and we can try to work out what is good and play with some keywords for you. Take it easy, guys and girls. We'll be back when we can start getting into some articles, start getting a website built, and start making this theory, putting it into action. Take it easy, guys and girls. Catch you at the next One Stop Tutorials.